Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of the 3 Keys to Knowing You Again. In the first episode, we talked about the essence of self not being singular, and we talked about your intrinsic connection with the one divine mind or God. Second key will involve a few things. It will involve creation, choice, decision, becoming. And so the second key is to become who you are. And what we're going to do is we're going to unlock how we are going to do that. And we're going to tear down these ceilings of opportunity that the programming that you've been on or the programming has taught you in this world. And instead, you're going to learn how to create limitless opportunities to bring your greatest and harmonious outcomes in your life. And when we talk about desire, we talk about a wish that we want fulfilled, right? But let me ask you, how specific and how detailed are your dreams? How colorful is your imagination to it? You cannot be what you do not know yourself to be. And this is profound, you guys. I learned this many years ago, and I bring this to you from my own life experience as truth, which is what makes me a master at manifestation. Who are you? I always ask, right? I ask anyone that's coached with me, you know that I ask that all the time. Who are you really? Beyond the labels that you put on yourself, beyond the roles that you play, beyond the labels that other people put on you. Who are you really behind that human costume? And you cannot will yourself to create or become anything. What you need to do is you need to have a mind to do it. You need to have an intention and set it. And that starts with pure imagination and undeniable determination and desire to fulfill that wish, right? And to become it. Become that. Who am I? Become it. And I like to use the word become because we already know from last episode that we already are. So we're not being, we already are. But we have this innate ability to become. And what I wanted to do is, let me tell you a little story about how this really aligns and works from my own life. When I was younger, much younger, I was an aspiring dancer in New York, and I had a clear vision. And my wish was to be dancing and performing on a stage, lights, cameras, action, on television, and in Hollywood. That was my dream. And lo and behold, I was 23. And I was at the top of my game. I was a fierce dancer. I had worked very hard at it. I had my body was in great shape, and we have this audition for this amazing opportunity, which was for this most popular. It was a competition show on television. It was at the time the most popular and sought after show on television with major exposure for by sought after by any dance hopeful, any actor, any singing hopeful, any musician, comedian. And I went on the audition for the dance. And the name of the show, I'm going to bring us back to 1985, 1984, was Star Search, Ed McMahon's Star Search on Fox TV. So there, I said it. Okay. So now you know how old I am. Okay. So the reason why I bring this up, you guys, is because did I hone my craft? Yes. Was I prepared physically to do this? Yes. But mentally, I I knew that I knew that I knew that this audition in this time and at that moment was that dream coming closer to my reality. And I remember we got up very, very early. We got on the train to get into the city from the suburbs, me and the two other people that I performed with. And the line was, you guys, the line was like 2 blocks around, 2 Manhattan blocks going around. There were thousands and thousands and thousands of dancers, thousands. And so we waited for hours and hours and hours and hours. By the time we got into the building, up the stairs, and where we were about maybe 20 minutes out from getting in that audition door, that room, that door that would open that calls our number in. I knew that it was time to warm up. We'd been standing on the pavement and we were tired and, stiff and whatnot. And, you wanted to mentally prepare, right? So here I was, I go off on my side, to one area, and I find a little space on the floor, and I start to warm up and just kind of get myself prepared. And I kind of went into my own little meditation. Yes, I did. And because I've been meditating a very long time in my life. And I have to tell you this, that mentally, there was no preparation that I needed to take. At the time, although I didn't know this at the time, I felt this innate connection with my mind, the desire in my heart, and my intuition, which I'm going to call God. I felt that innate connection. And I knew that I knew that I knew that I knew that I was going to win that audition. And when we went in, we performed like no one can. And we got the audition. We won it. And I just knew. It was a time in my life that proved that, yes, dreams come true, but it proved to me why dreams come true and what it takes for your wish to be fulfilled. And I went on to do the same. I'm not going to call it I'm not going to call this a methodology. It is a way of life. I went on to fulfill my wish with acting. I went on to fulfill my wish with as an author. Now, which, by the way, I'm going to talk about this in other episodes as well, as far as your complete wish. But I have to say that the wish sometimes, maybe you have this, like I'm kind of holding. I know this is audio, so I better explain what I'm doing. I'm kind of holding my hand up, like maybe you're at the level or the bar up to maybe 5 or 6, and you started at 0, right? And then that wish becomes fuller and fuller and fuller and fuller to 7 to 8 to 9 to 10, right? And so that's kind of what goes on in your life. And the reason I try and explain it this way is because the becoming of you is a process of expansion. And now, okay, so for example, I gave you an example in my life, a real life example of dance. Now, a dancer has it has a shelf life. As you get older, then you're not a dancer anymore. And that's kind of why I went into I had a plan to go into acting, and I did that. And um then I had what I would call a boulder drop down. But I wasn't spiritually awakened enough to understand how to navigate through that, around that, on top of that. But I was able to fulfill much of that wish on the stages in New York, in one or two films, and on One Life to Live on the soap opera. But then fast forward, I began to really go through those processes of expanding self. And that is around the time when I started writing Truth to Triumph while I was a life coach. And within 3.5 years, I wrote it, I authored it, I edited it, and I was, before I knew it, I was an author, and I even became a publisher. So the reason why I say this is because the becoming of you is the expansion of you, and it is the expansion of self. And that's your purpose here. Your purpose here is to expand to the greatest you that you came into this world to be, and to give, and to offer to others. And so it's all about that becoming. It's all about that creating. It's all about choosing those creations that you wish to experience. You came here into this earth, onto this earth, into this beautiful earth that we call Mother Nature, to fulfill your special, unique experience in your special, unique way. But there's nothing small about it. Nothing. So for all of today, in ending of this episode 2, your second key that we have unlocked is to become who you are. So go out there and stretch that imagination. I want you to see it. I want you to feel it. I want you to taste it. I want you to smell it. What color is it? What shape is it? What's the consistency of it? That's how detailed your dream, your wish that you want fulfilled, and your desire needs to be. If you want to, I would love you to, by the way, but if you want to engage in conversation about all of this or any of this, definitely I'm going to put a link on this podcast where you can send a message by voice, and you can send a message also by texting. And I encourage you to do so. Would love to hear from you. And if you are looking to expand more in your life, then keep at it. Come back for the 3rd episode and head over to my website, will you, and pick up a copy of Truth to Triumph. Here's to your expansion.